Good morning, friends. Welcome to Erico Blueberry, coming to you on a Saturday morning, at least for us. This is an unassuming Destiny podcast. My name is chillybin.
This is Meckii.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, we're recording on a Saturday morning when we release on a Saturday afternoon because, I don't know, some life stuff got in the way. It happens.
Also, so much shit is coming out about Witch Queen.
Yes. So, the last couple of weeks we've kind of mixed up our recording times so that we can catch a TWAB or two. TWAB. You know what I'm saying? The TWAB. But this was like more just other stuff. We were busy. Stuff came up, and then we're like, I guess we can try and record on Saturday morning, and then I'm pretty confident I can get this edit and publish turned around in time. So we'll see how that goes. But we were also talking, and I think we're going to start this next week, of kind of shifting our release time to just give us a bit more of that buffer if we do have stuff come up like this. So we're going to be shifting our release time to, what was it, Sunday morning Australia time. So that, nice Sunday brunch sesh, hang out with Erico Blueberry while you have your breakfast, maybe a hangover, I don't know. And yeah, then like we're still going to aim for that kind of Thursday night recording, I think, because that has worked for us. But it does give us a bit more of that buffer if we see stuff coming down the pipe and we're like, oh, I want to talk about that. Let's do that.
We anticipate that the first few weeks of Witch Queen are going to be pretty big.
Also that.
And there's probably going to be some big information dropping over the first few weeks. TWAB's probably going to be pretty beefy with fixes and
Yes.
and adjustments and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, in reality, our release time is shifting maybe less than 24 hours, but it makes our lives easier just a little bit. So stay tuned for that, I guess. Hit the bell so you know when the next episode is dropping. You know the thing to do on YouTube. But for this week, it's kind of a grab bag. After the last couple of massive TWABs, they kind of said, look, we're not going to be doing any more of these 6,000 word manuscripts. But then they still did drop like a shitload of stuff this week.
yeah, I was gonna say they're like no big TWAB, but here's like a bunch of trailers, some infographics, a ViDoc.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I see.
So yeah, before we dive into any of that, very quick mention to the civil engineering project going on in the astral alignment, I guess. Apparently, people only realized this week or last week that there's a bridge being built week by week leading towards a tower that is in the middle of the astral alignment environment. It's apparently been doing that the entire season. No one noticed until I think Forbes resident Destiny nerd Paul Tassi put out an article going, wait, what the fuck is happening here? Doing his usual thing of he saw a Reddit post and wrote an article about it.
I was gonna say, yeah, shout out to the guy on Reddit that was like, hey, so I came to you guys like 8 weeks ago and you all fucking gaslit me and told me I was imagining things. Well, suck my dick was basically the post.
Yeah, and then
because he posted earlier in the season, was like, has this changed? And people were like, nah, man, it's just like, nah, I think you're imagining it. And he's like, no, I think it's changed.
I understand that response because there are so many things in Destiny where, change blindness happens. You're like, wait, was this always like this? And someone posts a screenshot from like 3 months ago and they're like, yes, what have you been looking at? So I get it.
Seeing that guy be able to come back and be like, you're gaslit me, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, so as of this week, so that article came out before this week's reset, then reset happens, and now the bridge is complete. A bunch of people chose to very much opt into the belief that meant we were going to get a season end event or mission drop at the same time. Nothing happened, and then a bunch of people got themselves all mad about it over their own made-up expectations. So neat.
I went on a bit of a classic Meckii Twitter rant about it, though.
I do love it.
Seeing seeing people just like go in on Bungie and Destiny and be like, boo, oh, fucking dead week, woo, woo. And I'm like, homie, you made that up in your head.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you the exorcism was happening this week. It's not like
Yeah.
they said, all right, exorcism, or heavily hinted that it was like
they literally said
outright
nothing.
just going to happen. Not even in-game did they hint at it. And then you're going to come at them like as if they'd like cancelled an event or pushed an event back. Like, no, you made that up, my guy.
Yeah.
Like, set your expectations a little bit. Like,
so yeah, I think it's probably safe to say we'll see something this coming reset, aka the last week.
I was going to say this reset, or it's going to be end of season event.
Yeah, I think because we've had stuff like this before, right? Where there was a like end of expansion, that last season for an expansion. Like in that last week, there's a mission which is really load into a waypoint, watch a cutscene, walk about 50 meters, end. Yeah, it's being a bit reductive, but it's never like an actual big mission or anything. It's more just like here's a very lore heavy kind of interactive cutscene essentially, and then maybe there's something on that kind of last day before they turn the servers off as a like community event. We saw that with the Traveler rebuilding itself before Beyond Light.
Speaking of gaslighting, no, we talked about the last episode.
That was, we talked about that. That was pretty funny. Gaslighting is mean, but also sometimes really funny.
Especially if you accidentally do it. If you're intentionally gaslighting people, fuck you. But if it's just like...
I'm pretty sure like none of us actually
maybe you're
knew
not
it was
as
happening.
Attentive.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not as attentive as your homie, and your homie's just like, something's changed. You're like, no.
No, it's the same. Shut up.
It's more green.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, bridge building. We'll see what happens next week. Also,
I think we're going to try and stay up for the reset event leading into Witch Queen on the 22nd for us. I think a bunch of us are going to try and stay up.
It's not really stay up for us. It's like
get up early.
Well, last time it was like 9 or 10 in the morning. It was actually really reasonable for us.
For some reason it felt like I got up for it.
We might have got up early just to like hedge our bets a little. I think they might have given us a rough time window indication, and then we're like, look, let's get up at the start of it, and then there was a bunch of time where it just didn't load.
Because my Twitch VOD for it that I downloaded was 4.5 hours long. And it was just us sitting and bantering, basically. Yeah, so we were waiting for something for
it might have been more like a 6 a.m. kind of get up as opposed to like 3 a.m. for a reset.
Because we started in the tower, and then a bunch of us realized that it was like basically a jumping puzzle to another part of the tower.
That's right. And then there was a whole mission. Well, not mission, but like
you like
a
loading
zone into a
basically.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll do that again. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, probably stream it too. I'm going to try and stream it.
Yeah. No promises, but we'll try. Cool. Let's move on then. There is not a lot to get through, but it's more like it's like a tapas menu this week. There's a bunch of little things, and we want to try them all.
Little titty bitties.
Yeah. I don't know if I like that phrasing.
Bitty titties. Oh.
Little itty bitty treats. There we go. I saved it. We'll touch on the Witch Queen interactive trailer first, because that's probably the smallest out of all of these. I don't think they've done something like this before, and I think it's really cool. Like, it's 2.5 minutes of Ikora kind of monologuing about what's coming up. There's like animations happening showing Sabbath. It's more like a fucking Ken Burns effect, where it's like still images that are moving around, not like actual animations.
I was gonna say, and they I loaded into it super quickly before because for somehow I missed it.
Yeah.
But I've also not been on Twitter a lot the last couple of days, so I might have missed it that way.
Yeah.
And then also like I missed the game updates in our server too, so I might have missed it there. But from the first 35 seconds I managed to squeeze in before we started recording, I was like, they brought back that sketch style that we really enjoyed from Season of the Splicer, was it? Yeah, the stories about...
Yeah, they did those like cutscenes with the line art and stuff, right?
They're using that line art in parts again, which I really appreciate. I would gladly buy merch with that line art style on it, like big posters and stuff. But yeah, it looks really interesting. I'm keen to jump in after we
I
and
think
experience it.
for folks like you and me, probably not a lot of new information to pull out of it, but it's more just a really interesting way that they've kind of
They're telling the information.
it's like an intro to the season or to the expansion, sorry, narrated by Ikora, kind of like, you know, talking through her doubts and her questions and things like that. But also throughout it, there's like these little information nodes you can click on, which is why it's an interactive trailer. And then they kind of like pop up these little screens, pause the video, pop up these screens with like relevant lore information. It's not like here's a whole lore book, it's like paragraph or two. But it's like, hey, here's what Fundament is, you know, the Hive homeworld. And those kind of things where it's like, oh, this is actually useful context to what Ikora is talking about. So
usually if you're like a returning light or a new light, that's going to be really good.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, it's not really for people like us who are playing the game pretty heavily. It's like people that are like,
the live video.
Yeah, it's like for people coming in and being like, what is going on? It's like extra context presented in a pretty new way for Destiny, I think. So it's cool. I like it.
Ikora is getting something to do. I like it.
Yes, and that is becoming more evident in like more of the trailers that we see, as it's very centered around Ikora and her, again, her doubts about, you know, everything that's going on, but also kind of herself a little bit. There was a big Google Doc dump that was a transcription of the text out of the book from the collector's edition, and it's presented as like almost like DMs between different pairings of people. It's a really interesting, again, just interesting context. It's not like there's any like big reveals in there, but yeah, it seems fairly centered around Ikora. So good for her, I guess. Good job, Ikora. We'll see.
Yeah, I've seen some screens of stuff, which is it's like those DMs, and it's like Osiris, and she's like, it's almost like she's circled terms and like put like manipulation question mark over the top. Like she's now going through and questioning everything Osiris has ever said to her.
Yeah.
Because like we're still not 100% certain when she actually got in and how long it's been like that.
Yeah.
Or like how long she has been, you know, kind of interfering with the matters of the Vanguard and the Tower. Like how far back does that realistically go?
Yeah, it goes back and long, long way.
Yeah, but then it's also like they were sowing the seeds of Savathun's manipulation back in D1, if you take a look at it. They kind of very heavily go, hey, well, remember this thing in D1? Maybe rethink it. And I'm like, oh shit.
And that's sheesh. A very good segue into the ViDoc, because a couple of them actually mention like we are paying off stuff that started in D1. They say as much as that. So yeah, the ViDoc is what, like 13, 14 minutes long. It is, I mean, they've done, this is a tradition of Bungie, is to do a ViDoc right before a big release, but it's kind of like a combination of lore stuff and then also just like literal mechanics and systems and updates, and presented in a very fun way. Shout out to my homie Dave Samuel, just the nicest dude, doing all of the cool sound effects and getting hype as fuck.
Oh my god, I think I said that to you. I was like, something like Dave Samuels, one of the art leads, is a treasure. Yeah. Watching the ViDoc and watching him geek out is absolutely amazing. Like Dave Samuels needs to be protected.
I went looking actually for his full name, because all I remembered was Dave, and I found like GIFs from something like 4 years ago where he was like a VFX artist or something doing a similar thing in a Bungie video, where he's like doing all these arm motions, making sound effects with his mouth, and just like getting way into shit. So
and
good.
Also, her name is Catherine, I think.
Catherine Walker.
Yeah,
with
but
the shoulder. Yeah.
a whole bunch of women just got some sick fucking tops because of her. Because
Yeah.
people reacted to it, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, my top is from here."
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you for sharing that. Because,
Yeah.
like, surprisingly, with like, and I get it, like, sometimes when you're a woman and you get like a really cool piece of clothing, you kind of want to keep it click because you're like, no, this is my cool shirt. Like,
Yeah.
it's my. She was like, nah, here it is. It's a small business. Go support them.
Yeah.
And then, like, an hour later, she's like, holy fuck, the Destiny community sold them out. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Fuck.
yay.
Good for that business, I guess.
I really want that shirt though. I'm so
Yeah.
down for it.
Yeah.
Until one of our fire team members is like, "Oh, Crow cosplay," and I was like, "Fuck, you've ruined it for me now."
Well, because I think you posted one where it was like that kind of like scale armor look, but it was all the way down both arms. That is
Yeah,
very
and
much Crow's look, as opposed to the
it's
asymmetrical, just one shoulder.
yeah, they didn't have the asymmetrical one, but I'm also really enjoying the black and gold aesthetic of the one that I
Yes,
sent you too.
that is good. But yes, anyway, the ViDoc, Ikora just straight up looks like Pepe Sylvia era Charlie Day from Always Sunny, just standing in front of this fucking board trying to piece shit together. Like,
All the
if we don't
edits
get
sort of.
red string, I'm gonna be mad.
Oh, don't worry, Twitter's been working hard
Also,
on it,
isn't
and
there an emote where you're basically doing that?
yeah, and it
Yeah.
does the
Yeah.
point. Yeah,
So I'm expecting at least 10 videos of someone doing that emote in front of Ikora standing in front of that board.
Pepe de Silva.
Fuck.
As someone who has been assigned as of the Charlie Day of the fire team, I'll gladly take that burden and Pepe
Cool.
de Silva this whole thing.
Cool. We'll make sure you either have or can get that emote. I will buy you silver if it means you can get that emote, if that's what it takes. We get the season name finally. It's no longer Season of the Redacted. It is Season of the Risen. Again, looks very Cabal themed in terms of the way the armor and stuff looks. Reinforced again by them saying Keitel is basically going to be our biggest ally in this whole thing. Quick side note, Joe, I don't know about the pronunciation. Is it Keitel? And then he says Kayatal. Like,
But
really
then
emphasizing the TL.
everyone else in the VDoc says Keitel.
I know.
And everyone in the game says Keitel.
I know. And he's the game director. Who's right?
I think it's I won't dox myself, but we were joking about it because I was like, yo, I kind of like I relate to Keitel a little bit because I also have a name that is said 3 or 4 different ways by people I know.
Yeah.
My own parents say it differently
Uh-huh.
from each other.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
rise up with the weird names. Let's go.
Right. So yeah.
Another next generation of children. I reckon there's going to be a few Keitels in there. I want there to be some Ikoras and some Keitels and stuff in there.
Yeah. I always get weird about that stuff. People naming their children after fictional characters. Like, how many fucking Daenerys's did we see after Game of Thrones?
And John came back in too.
Yeah. And often it's people missing the fucking point. Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. There's one very small snippet in them talking about the Season of the Risen where there's a Cabal ship flying in essentially a giant gun turret or gun barrel. This I didn't put in the notes because it's just come back to my mind. It basically, it's like an anti-aircraft gun on steroids. This thing is like a giant cannon, and we see them in, like, I think it's Firebase Hades on the EDC. Is these big cannons. They've got like a particular thing kind of down the barrel of them. Part of me thinks Keitel is just planning to blast this bitch out of the sky in her own throne world or on Mars, like, because Mars is kind of shown as the way into the throne world, I think, or at least adjacent to it. So are we just trying to blow her shit up? Like, is that the plan?
Keitel's had enough.
Yeah,
tell
me about it.
No.
Yeah, can I please have Emperor Callus back? Here's a big gun. I mean it.
Give me my shit back, you dickhead.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. But yeah, they talked about, we've seen obviously little snippets of the player character destroying the Hive ghosts and fighting the Hive Guardians. They're doing so, apparently, by utilizing the light suppressing tech that we saw the Cabal use in Season of the Chosen. That was weird, right? Because there were those scions that were not working alongside Keitel that were actually using that, right? That was that final cutscene where they loaded it onto a sniper rifle and shot.
And it grabbed Zavala's ghost and kind of I wouldn't say it's not like straight up destroying it, it's just deactivating it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that the lore around that was that these were like a splinter faction that Keitel did not endorse or agree with. And so it's interesting that we're now using that technology. I wonder if, I can't remember if like they went and captured it. I think they must have.
I think so. I think wasn't there a cutscene about an assassin in, like, there's definitely a cutscene I think where Osiris and Crow are arguing at the helm table, the war table, about something like that.
Yeah, well, there was an assassination attempt on Zavala, which was part of that Scion group, but I'm pretty sure that's before this cutscene with the sniper and the ghost.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
it's going back a few seasons.
They were arguing about it, and they were talking about it, and Crow, and
So yeah, well, look, it's what, 2 weeks away? Not even that. We'll find out soon enough.
Also, how much is true coming out of Osirathun anyway? So.
Osirathun, fuck. Savathyrus.
Oh, that's a bacterial infection.
Savathyroid. Gross. That's all gross. She's a big weirdo.
She's a big crusty lady.
Yeah.
Big crunchy bitch.
We get some extra clarification on one of the Warlock exotics. Some kind of gross but also nice looking feet.
Some fancy feet.
Yeah, they make your empowering rifts do a bit of devour. Not specifically healing rift.
Healing, devour,
you have to get a kill to like kick off the health.
See, now I'm torn.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I was all for my Osteostriga necrotic stack, but like if I can get real yucky with it and have a devouring empowering rift and I can just be real gross.
Yeah, well, they called it out as specifically saying empowering rifts doesn't have much use in the end game, so we want to fix that. So
I use it more in trials.
Yeah, the Osteostriga necrotic grip combo probably for most content I think is going to work pretty well. But you know, for those high level PvE bits and pieces, I feel like the empowering rift, devouring rift, is probably going to be a decent move. Osteostriga might not even be what you reach for in that sort of content anyway.
Oh no, I just want to be gross.
Yeah, fair.
Now that Bungie is giving me the power to be just gross, I will be gross.
Yeah,
I will make everything green.
Yeah, I hope all of the like swamp theming they're putting around this expansion, you get some swamp ass looking armor.
It's my jam.
That'd be
creepy,
nice.
Gross, and damp.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
I'm excited. I'm excited to play with all the new Warlock stuff.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks very cool. I can't think of anything else out of the ViDoc that was new or like really stand out. It was kind of...
It was adding to and reinforcing a lot of stuff they'd already kind of either teased at or given us, but we didn't have like context or kind of visibility around it. The big thing for me was they said that there's going to be, I think they said 50 new weapons.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is amazing. I'm excited. On top of the crafting system, that's going to be great. And then something like 8 new exotics. I don't know if that's weapon and armor, but they said something like 8 exotics.
Yeah, well, the exotic armor additions is 2 per class, so 6.
Yeah.
And then they've already announced more than that in terms of weapons. So they must have been talking about weapons at that point.
Yeah, which is exciting. That's huge.
Yes, very cool. I will pull one out for my hunter friends getting basically fucked in this ViDoc. They didn't talk about hunter exotics or hunter void stuff in the bit we'll get to in a minute.
I mean,
they talked about them a little bit, but like not as much as the other 2 kind of seemed to get a focus.
From memory, and I could be remembering wrong, but like the Beyond Light ViDoc I remember Warlocks being like, what the fuck? Because
Yeah.
it was mostly Titan and Hunter stuff. So like
Yeah.
it feels like every class is going to get that VDoc or that moment where they're just like, hey, what about me? I feel like they're just going to...
Yeah, but I mean, there's no
It
reason they
happens.
had to cut that out for a ViDoc, right? Like, it's not like there's a video length limit that they're trying to adhere to. It's YouTube. You can do whatever you want.
Get fucked Warlocks.
Yeah.
Get fucked Hunters.
Titans
It's
only. Season of the
Titan
Titan.
time, baby.
Yes. Very good. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the main bits out of the VidArc, at least that I found interesting. Mostly it's just a lot of Dave Samuel fandom.
Just being an absolute delight.
What a guy.
I do really appreciate the way that they put the crushing the hive ghosts into context as well, because like the first time I saw, I think I might have even mentioned it to you and another fire team member, where I was like, the crushing of the ghost is like wild because it feels sacrilegious in a way, because you're like, I have a ghost. My ghost brought me back from the dead and it's my homie. Like, where like this literally lives inside me. Like, so it feels like really wrong in a way to like crush a ghost, because you're like, I have that. I do that. Like, you're just like, I have one of those. Like, and then they're like, no, but also at the same time, you kind of like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was...
Give me back the light, you nerd.
It was, Dave Samuel, and I forget the person that was kind of on the panel.
He's the really dope hair. It's like half like strawberry blonde and half like blonde. It looks real dope. I forgot your name, but you're cool as shit.
They were having that conversation about like, wait, I have one of these. I feel super conflicted about doing this. And so that kind of says to me that they're thinking about the gravity of including that in the game, and like how it gets portrayed,
and the gravity. And yeah, that's one thing that struck me, because I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I thought I was just being a soft little bitch when I thought about it that deeply,
so I'm just
because everyone's like
full doom, just like rip and tear these motherfuckers. I
was gonna say, I brought it up with the clan and everyone's like, it looks cool as shit, and I was like, it's kind of weird because like it feels wrong.
I feel
and everyone's
gross.
like, no, it looks cool. And I was like, it feels kind of gross.
You guys are gross boys. Fuck off.
And now those two being there, but just being like, you know, it's conflicting because you have one, and I'm like, right,
my people. So yeah,
I think too deeply about the silly space game.
And I will continue to. Cool. So also at about the same time, they dropped a giant kind of post about Void 3.0, just being like, look, here's a bunch of details. Fuck you. Like, fuck you, TWAB. We're going to do it on a Wednesday.
Stop speculating, losers.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So
saying wildly weird shit about what we're going to do, as if you know.
Yeah, so some kind of big themes that I've pulled out here. So we've got 6 buffs or debuffs, just in terms of like them getting their terminology straight. Suppress, weaken, volatile, invisibility, overshield, devour. I don't know if that means all 6 of those are available in some way to all 3 classes, because devour is historically a warlock only thing. But at least in terms of like the things that Void will allow you to do, they were just trying to get like the language down in terms of, here's actually what this word means. And they're not new things, so I won't like go into explaining kind of what they meant with them, but interesting that they're starting by getting words right, which is probably good when you're overhauling a system like this. As a Titan main, I'm very excited to see the fast activating Ward of Dawn coming in, and the fact that they're putting that in the top tier of passive super cooldowns next to Well of Radiance. Fucking yes. Get at me. I'm throwing bubbles. I love that damage boost. And, you know, not dying, but the damage boost is real tasty. Especially when you pop it and then enemies run inside it and you just get to punch them back out of it. Very satisfying.
Yeah. I'm not a Void player at all. We know this. We done been you. But like some of the stuff that came out, I was like, oh I'm not playing some
Yeah.
more in the new expansion. I want my own little personal black hole.
Yes, Child of the Old Gods. Excuse
It's
me.
just such a sick fucking name. I
Uh,
changed my name to that on Twitter.
some fucking
Meckii, Child of the Old Gods.
Cthulhu stands over at Bungie, I feel like. Maybe. But yeah, that's basically like, if you've heard of Arc Soul, this is Void Soul, where basically you shoot an enemy when you've got this thing up and it will go towards them and explode.
But also, I think it uses Devour too. It's got some.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's got some extra shit other than just exploding on them, but it looks cool as fuck, man.
Tiny black hole.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I've
So,
got a new friend.
yes, put that next to, and this, you know, is not an original joke, but combine your Arc Soul from an ally, Void Soul, and then No Time to Explain, and you got your own little fire team of 4 right there. That's fun. Get a little gang going. What if you all did it? 6 Void Warlocks running Child of the Old God. Actually, one of them running Arc Soul. All of them running No Time to Explain. There's your 12-man raid right there.
Yeah, we just go 6 stack warlocks, 3 void, 3 arc, and it'll just be an infinite loop of little buddies.
Yeah,
that's what I call my. That's how you know I'm running Arc Souls. Is like, time for a little friend.
Yeah. So like this isn't new either. So as same with Stasis, we've got the aspect and fragment system coming in. The UI basically looks like that Stasis page. But yeah, aspects being the class specific bits, and then fragments applying across all. We had stasis fragments being referred to, like the naming was Whisper of blank. These are all Echo of blank, which just sounds cool. Very like, it's very, I don't know, evocative of what Void is. It's this big expanse, it's this big black hole, it's all in there. I like it.
Yeah, I like too that they're putting the thought in, like when with the naming constructs that also kind of apply to each class's relationship with the light and relationship with the traveler. Yeah. Like, if you look at the way with the warlock stuff, and I looked at it, and I was like, the warlock stuff is very much named because the warlocks honor the traveler and they see the relationship with the traveler as a symbiotic relationship. So the fact that they've got things like Devour and even to an extent Child of the Old Gods, it reflects that kind of symbiotic cycle. Yeah. That the warlocks like have had with the traveler, because like there's always the joke that the warlocks are like traveler simps. Yeah. And then you look at the way the wording is for the Titans that they've shown so far, and it is very evocative of like defense and protection. Yes. And yeah, like that was like, I didn't want to. Of course, the hunters get edgy shit. They get edgy shadow, hide, invisible. Edgy. Yeah. I have not seen anyone else make this joke, so I'm going to make it and claim it as mine. They are introducing, so there's like quick fall, basically like the dive part of Shadow Dive, or like a Phoenix dive from a solar lock. They are introducing the ability to do that smoke bomb at the bottom and go invisible. Go invisible. And I am calling that Shadow Dive because hunters be edgy as shit, so don't steal my joke. Shadow Dive. That's much better than mine, because I was just like, yo, lol, crop dusting. Like in the shop when you do like a sneaky, silent but deadly and then just disappear. That's what the hunters are doing. They're crop dusting. Yes. You walk up to a homie, drop a sneaky silent one, and then just disappear. That's very good. And if they look around like, who fucking that's the hunters. Ripped it? That's the hunters. They're crop dusting. They are. Okay. I like that. That's what I'm going to say if I'm trying to piss off a hunter. Just go crop dust dusting. Someone. Go on. Get out of here. Homie's crop dusting. Yucky. Ugh. But yeah, I think it was, what was it, last episode where I was like, I'm so psyched to see what they actually name things. Because I was like, they're really good at their naming conventions, and they did not let me down. I'm actually like super excited to all of that. They've written a big check with Child of the Old Gods. They can do what they want from there. Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, bro. Yeah. Fuck.
And also in that Void post, I forget who it was, but they had like the person writing that section of the article was essentially like the person who was overseeing that whole system update, I think, and basically said like, yeah, Child of the Odd Gods is like a thing I've wanted to do for ages, personally. That was very cool for them to like get to see that realized.
It just raises a question with me though, looking at it. It's like, okay, so we've got Whisper, and now we've got Echo. So like Solar and Arc. Scream, one of them is Yell.
Ooh, I wish. I think they were talking about, with all of these overhauls, trying to focus more in on what the identity of each of those subclasses is. So with Void, they're talking about like gravity, black hole, that kind of vibe. Solar, they actually said they wanted to lean into healing as
yeah,
as Solar.
he said that. He said there's this destructive element of Solar, but then you've also got the healing support element of Solar because you've got the rift. And he's like, and we haven't really focused on that aspect of the Solar ability yet. And then he's like, Arc is about long range, big damage. He's like, but what else can it do? Like, what other personalities or traits does Arc have? It's symbolic of lightning. So, like, what can we?
Yeah, I'm very excited for Void 3.0, but I'm also very excited to see where the other two go.
And then I'm excited for the other darkness subclasses that they've alluded to as well.
Yes, yeah.
But they didn't let me down on the naming thing. Thank you, Bungie, because you nailed it.
Yeah, welcome to. We're going to change the podcast to Children of the Old Gods. That's actually probably not a good name. There's probably some stuff out there that's like weird cult podcasts.
I was gonna say probably something. Also some like
people want
eldritch horror simps, but
I don't want to align myself too closely with H.P. Lovecraft if I can avoid it. That's just a me
thing. Yucky.
I know what he called his cat. It's really bad.
I can appreciate his content existence in the cultural zeitgeist, but like,
fuck that guy.
Yucky.
Yucky racist man wrote a book or two. Why are we doing this in like a Varric's voice?
Yucky.
Yucky racist man. Yes.
Varric's is for the girls, the gays, and the days.
Yes.
He's
very
leftist.
Progressive. Did I have anything else for this? I've now lost my place. Yes. Players who've played Destiny before the Witch Queen will get all of the aspects and most of the fragments on day one, which is fucking nice. Because man, those when it was stasis, it was the first time that system was introduced.
Oh, it was a grind.
Dude, grinding out like because you had to like come back weekly.
And shit.
You had to come back weekly to get all of them in the end, and then you could only do so many of those fragment quests a week, and it took ages.
And then you had to do the 100 stasis kills.
Yeah.
Which I mean, as a warlock, is not that bad because we can pop a bunch of people at once. You just have to go to Sorrow, like Altars of Sorrow, and just get everyone to rush you and pop them. But
considering the identity of stasis is crowd control, having a quest around getting kills with it feels just antithetical to an extent. Maybe 100 is too many. Give me, I don't know, 20.
Yeah, but any excuse to go visit LC for some people.
Yeah. Let's avoid that. I think that's kind of the main bits for the Void post. Look, there's a lot of detail in there. Go have a look. I've intentionally left stuff out because I don't want to just sit here and read posts as much as we sometimes end up doing that. And
Destiny Overview did a really good infographic breaking it all down and putting it into a really digestible format too, if the way Bungie delivered it doesn't quite make sense. Destiny Overview, I think that's them. I feel
Twitter
terrible
account,
if it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
They put it into an like a really easy to follow infographic, and then also kind of put it into a similar context of like how it would appear.
Yeah.
So that's also really good. So if the information from Bungie feels really like a lot, I think definitely seek out that tweet thread because they do break it down for people who might not be that deep into the jargon, and then also new lights and returning lights. I think they've done a really good job at making it digestible, that much information.
It is also like, even for me with some of these posts where it's just like numbers, percentages, updates. Sometimes I find that hard to like pause and then in my brain start to visualize how that's going to feel, how that's going to change, how to work.
Mm.
What does a 5% increase to this value actually mean? What does it translate to? That stuff is hard to get your head around sometimes.
Yeah, we're both very much like, and we've said it in a bunch of episodes when it comes to stuff like this. It's like, yeah, it's fun to imagine, but like, hold off your criticisms and like flying off the handle about changes until you've actually gotten in and gotten to feel them.
I mean, positive or negative, right? Because
Yeah,
you don't want to go and, I don't know, yell at Bungie devs on Twitter because you think something's going to be bad.
you imagine something is going to feel different, and then you get in game and it does not.
Yeah.
It's organic the way they've changed it, or
Yeah.
some of them it's like it seems and feels like a big change, but then when you actually get into the game and you use it, you're like, actually no, this makes complete sense.
Yeah. Especially when it's like in the context of other changes that come at the same time, it might actually be really appropriate next to everything else and balance things a lot better. But when you just read this one thing about your favorite gun or your favorite ability, you're like, oh, that sucks. Why are you making it worse? It's like, well, you can't really know how it feels yet.
But
You're not
also just
really able to predict that.
just as a general rule of thumb, not every change is for you.
Yes. Very true.
Haha. Imagine.
Imagine this game has millions of players. Who would have thought? You
Hell
don't
yeah.
matter. Anyway.
Existential dread on a Saturday morning.
Cartoons are weird now.
I don't want existential dread before I do my groceries, thank you.
Okay. You end up coming back with just cheese. Just like, fuck it, let's go.
Fuck it, nothing matters. Cheese and biscuits all week.
The only other stuff I've got is bits and pieces I've picked up on the periphery, like Bungie devs in articles and interviews talking more about the Legendary campaign and kind of how that fits in, what that looks like, and the reward structure, which is... Oh, I've got some feelings about this. So, Legendary campaign is available day one. I don't know about like power level versus the regular campaign in terms of requirements to get into missions. I remember back to like Shadowkeep, there were like power level requirements. Sometimes you had to grind a bit before you could go do it. But yeah, Legendary campaign available day one. In terms of difficulty, they're kind of saying it's between Legend and Grandmaster Nightfall. Not as hard as trying to solo a dungeon, but still no fucking joke. I think, yeah, we spoke about it last time. The more people in your fire team, it'll scale up with you, but it is built so that you can solo it. Completing the whole campaign on Legendary, though, is where things get really fucking tasty. So they confirmed this week you will drop a full set of gear, so armor and weapons, 8 pieces, at 1520 power. So, way to just like shortcut the raid grind. Assuming you can get that done in that first week and a half.
Legendary seems like the optimized way to level.
Yeah.
In this instance.
Yeah. And also like both versions of the campaign fully replayable. I don't know if that means it's like a thing you can farm or if it's just like, do it on regular, then go back for Legendary and kind of just like do what you want to do there. But that 1520 set that drops, they've said will be all rare, so blues. And DMG on Twitter, I think this morning basically said, no, we see this as like either you're going to use it to infuse the stuff you actually want to use, or you're just going to keep it in your inventory to make all your drops higher. So it's the same thing. It's just, do you infuse or not?
Yeah, I refer to stuff like that. I've kind of inadvertently started referring to stuff like that as service drops. Like I'm not going to use it, but it serves a purpose other than me going to use it. So it's a serviceable item.
Yeah.
But it's not, I'm not going to go out and use this gun. I'm going to sit on it because I need my drops to be higher, or I want to feed it to my gnawing hunger, my Crisello. Like there's stuff I regularly use that I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I can start feeding this to my god roll.
Yeah.
Or my favorite roll of.
Yeah. There's also some other rewards for that campaign completion. Things you might expect, like emblems, well, an emblem, a triumph, and they vaguely referred to Bungie rewards items. So cool, and I think there was something like upgrade modules and stuff that you'll drop. Actually, that's what it was. And I've only just realized this. So full 15-20 set of gear, 8 items. They said you will also drop 8 upgrade modules. So they're basically just like, here is a free kit to go and upgrade an entire set of shit you actually want to use. That's real nice. I like that. Because it's, we've spoken about this before, having done the grind for a day one raid. When it's, expansion release, then that raid, often you end up having to do maybe 2-3 weeks if you want to really be ready. You're looking at least 2-3 weeks of stacking bounties before that expansion even drops. And then you're looking at a really brutal week and a half playing the game like 10 plus hours a day, potentially, running through the campaign on multiple characters. It is legitimately an unhealthy way to play the game. Don't get me wrong, I had some fucking amazing times around Beyond Light, and being in Discord all day with the homies, running through the stuff for the first time. I don't think that's sustainable, and I think this is a sign that they're starting to realize that and make changes, and saying that, like, look, we want more people to experience something like a day one raid. Whether or not they finish it, it is still a valuable experience. Like, it's really interesting, it's really challenging, and if they can make that accessible to more people through things like shortening the power grind to get ready for it, fucking great, do that. I don't like having to grind and stack bounties, but I'm doing it because I think I need to, but I also don't know that I do with this.
Yeah, and also, like, I can't remember exactly who said it, but I remember in a video somewhere, when they were talking about stuff like this, someone was like, look, we understand that some of the people who joined us at the beginning of Destiny 2 or even back in Destiny 1 have families now. They have full-time jobs now. Like, they might have been 18, 19 when they started playing Destiny 1 with us, and now they've got a full-time job or kids. He's like, so these big grinding sessions are not always viable for people.
Yeah.
And then it's also true, like, without sounding, but like these the grind set, Sigma grind set, these huge expectation that you need to be able to sit down all day, every day and play Destiny to get where you want to be. And it's not just like the way the game is built. The community also has that mentality. It's kind of ableist.
Yeah.
Not all of us can fucking sit in a chair for 10 fucking hours. Like, I know as a fact, because of my immune condition, my knees and my hips and my ankles specifically will not let me sit in a chair for 8 to 10 hours day after day after day. Because by the end of day 4, my lower legs are so full of fluid that I can't move. Like, it's just not viable for some of us. Some of us need to do 2 or 3 hours, take an hour or 2 break, go have a shower.
Yeah.
What they need to do. Some of us have families. Some of us have jobs. I mean, like, it's just...
That's the thing. Like, I have, privilege in that I can take a week off work when this game comes out and give myself as much time as I need to prepare for a raid and to get through the campaign. And again, that is not available to everyone at all. It is not even available to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Some of us in the clan, some people, because this is not me, work more part-time hours, so they have more time available to them, but maybe don't have the same income to pick up items in the Eververse store that they want, or even necessarily get expansions or season passes sometimes, So,
yeah. It's also like, some of us might be fortunate enough to get time off, but then we might have kids.
Yeah.
So it's just
stuff
like
to worry about outside of it.
The grind is not viable. For some of us, this game is not our full-time job. Like,
yes.
And it's really kind of dangerous and toxic for the people who have the privilege and the availability to use this game as a full-time job and an income to sit there and be like, oh, just grind. I don't know why you're complaining. It's not that hard to get to the power cap.
Have some fucking awareness. Read the room. just because you stream this game 12 hours a day, that is not everyone.
Yeah.
We
So
do not have
just
that.
removing that grind is like not only making it accessible to people who don't have time, but it's also making it accessible to people who just might not be able to sit down or game or have not even just physical health, mental health too. Like some of us can't focus on a game for fucking 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of us get distracted by shiny things.
Yes. Very true. But yeah, also like that's just reminded me that with Witch Queen, the some of those accessibility settings around like full auto just being a setting, some of that stuff is hitting then. I can't remember all of the stuff they're adding. That was just the one that stuck out because they added that weapon mod as like a stopgap for this season.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's one of those things that once it's all in, you and I can have a poke around and have a look at the different accessibility options and talk about it if we want to anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, to your point about like, you know, people who've been with the game a long time having, you know, their lives have changed. There's been some like big people, big in terms of like high profile Destiny streamers that have like walked away from stuff like day one raids and potentially even the game itself because of how demanding that shit is.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work for them. So
Yeah.
it's good to see the game kind of evolving with the community and evolving to meet the community where they are as a whole, not looking at that top like 5%, but looking at, okay, most people put in about this many hours a week. How do we make this stuff challenging, but within reach for that kind of middle band?
Yeah. I think that's one thing Bungie will do well and has done well for a while. It's just their community awareness. They know they're listening, you know, they're not perfect, but this is one of those big, like much needed quality of life changes for a lot of people that's going just to make the beginning and just also end game a lot more accessible and a lot easier. And it's not just thrown like, oh yeah, here you go. It's we have to earn it, which is fair enough. Like that's completely fair. I'm not complaining about that at all. I like that they were like, here's a legendary campaign, but it's also going to pay off in a really good way, in a really big way for some of you. So we want you to do the push to do the legendary campaign, challenge yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Because as someone who doesn't really do high level stuff, as we've learned, I tend to just
hang
exist.
out. Yeah.
I just vibe in the game. I saw that and I was like, oh, great. I have to do the legendary campaign. But then I sat back and I was like, no, I have to do a legendary. I have to start pushing myself to do this high level stuff now.
Yeah, it's either that or you do the shitty grind that we've always done.
Yeah, I have to grow. This is going to make me grow in certain ways as a player, and my technical ability and my in-game ability is going to be pushed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bungie, because like I'm not pushing myself clearly.
Yeah, but also like, you know, with them resetting everybody to 1350, you're not trying to do that while everyone was already starting ahead of you. Like, some people have more stuff unlocked in terms of mods and whatnot, but we're all starting from the same point. So it gives you that good opportunity to like, you know, fire team up with people and stay with them as they go through this stuff. So it's gonna be a good time. It's a good time for the game, good time to grow, good time to play.
I've had people like on the power level, the floor thing. Lately I've had people, because they know I do this and I stream Destiny and I play a shitload of Destiny, just at work and in my personal life, who maybe touched early D2 or they touched D1 and they're starting to see the hype and also like just the positivity start to build around Destiny.
Yeah.
And they're even coming over from the Destiny dead game kind of mentality and being like, oh, Destiny's making a comeback. I'm like, what do you mean making? It made a comeback.
Yeah, always been here.
And a lot of them were like, yeah, man, the new expansion looks really good, but like I haven't played in a really long time and you know, and I was like, oh, they brought the power floor up. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, everyone starts on 1350 now. They're like, oh, so like if I jump in, I will be, and I'm like, and it's, I think a few of them are like, I might just pick up the expansion then. I can jump back into it and see how I feel. I'm like, yeah, like it'll be a lot easier for you. Because a lot of them have attempted to come back in around expansions and then have just been so
like
disgustingly underleveled.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, like we're all starting at 1350 day one.
Yeah.
Launch, we're all on that floor, and they were like, "Oh, so it'll be easier." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And there's a whole, and then I tell them about crafting and the new void system, and a lot of them are like, the selling point for them coming back is that power floor.
Yeah, the power floor is above the current maximum, and then when you think about what that means, it's like, oh, no one can be above this on day one, like
Yeah.
when it launches.
So like the power floor is great too. It's also another accessibility angle that is, some people can't or haven't been able to play for a long time.
Yeah.
They can now come back comfortably.
Yeah.
Without worrying about feeling too overwhelmed.
Yes. Yes, we'll just have to see how those queues look on day one, with all these extra players that they've come out and said like over 1 million people have pre-ordered it.
Welcome to my stream where it's just a baboon.
Yeah,
connecting to
I'm gonna,
D2 servers.
I'm gonna have like the game and my queue in like a small picture-in-picture, and then it's just a camera of me sitting here painting my nails or something until it's actually ready to go.
Fuck yeah.
At 3 a.m.
Day one co-stream, let's go.
Yes, let's get it. But yeah, I think that's kind of everything for this week from us. If you're someone who celebrates Valentine's Day, Destiny has gotten rid of their Crimson Days event, but I don't know, enjoy that. I'm going to a Valentine's themed luchador wrestling event tonight.
I am so jealous.
That is my plan. There are tacos and Mexican wrestlers.
I'm so jealous.
It's gonna be fucking sick, actually. When my partner sent it to me, I was like, yes, we're doing that. Just completely surprised that came from her and not me.
Did we just become best friends?
Been together 4.5 years. Just like, did we just become best friends?
Do you want to go do karate?
Be like, what? Who are you? Just out of nowhere with the karate. So yeah, I don't know. Go play Destiny with a loved one. What? I don't know. Or don't.
Just
love yourself first.
Just a single goyle. I'm gonna go
practice some self-care.
Put some pink shaders on my warlock and just stand in the tower.
Yeah, see if you can make your warlock look like a flower somehow. I don't know if there's the right armor to do that, but I don't know. I got nothing.
Look, to be fair,
I've never played during those Crimson Days events. All I know is it was like a doubles Crucible mode.
Yeah. To be fair though, in a lot of like not Destiny related, but for all my single friends out there, in a lot of cultures, Valentine's is not just about couples. It's just about appreciating relationships around you, which includes family and friends. It's not just a love orientated day.
I like that. So do that. Celebrate those around you.
Celebrate your homies.
That's it. Your biological family and your chosen family. That's it.
Race a car, park it in a helicopter. Family.
Oh, you talking about family? Family. 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 Let's get out of here. I have to quickly turn around and edit this before it goes up in
I have to go do my glow
5 hours. We will catch you next week. Hang on. Let me do the math here on the dates, because now we're getting very close to Witch Queen. I'm scared. No, okay. So the next episode is going to come out like 3 days before Witch Queen, essentially. So I doubt we're going to have a whole lot of new information before then. Maybe we'll do a final check-in on our Witch Queen prep and me cleaning up my vault and my gunsmith materials. We'll see how that's going. I almost streamed it this week, and then I don't know, had other stuff to do, but I'm thinking I'm just going to like set up what will end up being probably a many hour-long stream where I clear out all of my shit that I need to clear out beforehand. I don't need to do it. I could just let it expire, but part of me wants to. So yeah, we'll see you next week on the eve of Witch Queen.
Yes.
That bitch is at the door.
Yucky.
She's knocking. She's flapping the big old moth wings.
I vote we don't let her out.
Yeah, can we
Just
just
keep her in the crystal. What if we just didn't
can we like
exercise her?
freeze it more? Can we do that? Just keep her in there. Get fucked, nerd. Cool. All right. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell.
Leave a comment.
Yes. Do those. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Play some Destiny. Play some Destiny.
Be nice.
Do that. Be nice. Okay, bye.
Be not shit. Bye.